we have off-road, off-grid, super cool, high quality trailers from Australia. From MDC, today we have Vaughn with us. He is the creator, the founder, and we're gonna show you everything you need to know about it. So thanks, Vaughn, for hanging out with us.
Thanks for having me, PJ. I'm really excited to be here at Princess Craft in Austin, Texas.
Oh, way to go. Let's get started. So start out by telling me what makes MDC so special.
Yeah, so PJ, in the Australian market, 50% of what we do is actually off-road, serious off-grid, remote travel. You know, we are a big continent and everyone lives around the outside, and we like go traveling to the inside. And when we go, there's not many facilities, right? So we could be 300 miles between gas stations.
300 miles between a gas station.
Yeah.
Whoa. All right, so you've got to be ready for anything in that 300 miles. So how do you do that?
Yeah, and so when we build the trailers, they're serious off-road machines, right? So everything's reinforced, off-road travel, 2 spare wheels on the back, particularly in the outback Australia. When you're on the rough road, it's easy to stake a tire.
Okay.
So 2 spares, that way if you actually have 2 unfortunate punches, you can keep going, you don't get stuck.
Love it.
So that's something that's important. Recovery gear. So overlanders typically can actually get themselves into tight spaces where they may have to unhitch a vehicle and drag a van out. So we've got recovery points on the back here. These are rated. And so should you get into a situation where you can't drive forward, and you could actually bring your vehicle around with a winch and actually winch this backwards to get yourself out of trouble.
Yeah, get you out of the spot because pulling forward may not be possible.
Absolutely.
All right. How much weight do they hold?
They will hold around about, each one's rated to 5 ton.
5 tons, so that's 10,000 pounds?
Around about, yeah.
Well, you certainly don't have that with this, but you could pull the whole rig out with one of those hooks.
And we've done that before.
All right.
But best to go across 2.
When you can.
Yeah.
And it looks like they unpin and pull out if you have to.
Absolutely.
All right, that's interesting. What about the tanks? I see they're covered.
Yeah, so the water tanks have a aluminium cover across them. And what that is, those water tanks are actually around 8 mil thick, which is about 1/4 of an inch.
Wow.
So they're very solid. And the idea is when you're actually traveling down gravel roads, you're going to be flicking up a lot of rocks into the bottom of your trailer, into your water tanks. We have an aluminium cover to help protect them, because one of the worst things would happen to you on your adventure is if you actually lost water. Because water is very important, right?
If you're 300 miles between gas stations, absolutely. You're between water fill-ups.
Yeah, and so it's important that you protect those, protect the tanks when you're on the off-grid travel.
So coming around the front, what else do you see that sticks out as something great MDC does for overlanding?
These bash guards here, so that's protection. So if you're doing stuff like rock crawling in, say, Moab, probably doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing, but hey, if you get adventurous, you want to take your trailer anywhere.
Right.
You know, these are things that they're on the lowest point. If you're going up over rocks, it's going to hit this rather than hit this. So it's just protection. The aluminium cladding down the side, that's protection as well. So
on
it's
any brush or anything that you come alongside.
Exactly.
You know, the bars are really helpful too. I know in Texas, when we're going off the road, we may have a washed out area. You may not be rock crawling, but you hit one of those washed out areas, you're gonna lean, you're gonna have low points, happens really easily.
100%, and it's actually easier. You shouldn't damage that, but if you scratch it up or damage it, it's actually easier to replace that rather than repairing something like this that's been crushed completely.
Right, right. What else?
Okay, independent suspension. Now, how the suspension works is, instead of having a beam axle, when you go over rough terrain, it actually rocks both sides, it puts pressure on the van. The suspension's independent, so if you hit something on this side, it's not actually going to affect this side. What you'll find is you'll get a smoother ride on the rough stuff. And when we talk about building overland products we have some proprietary parts that we have here at MDC. So this particular rim here, that's rated at 1,500 kilos. And the reason we do that is it's proprietary rim, it's alloy, it's thicker and it's stronger, because typically on a four-wheel drive, you actually have four wheels to put the weight over, but on a single axle, you've only got the weight across two wheels, and so this has to be a stronger part. And I reckon you probably wouldn't find a rim that's rated to that in the United States.
Wow. Now, I was impressed that some of your independent suspension you actually produce yourself. You know, a lot of the trailers that we carry here, they say they have a Kurt suspension, they have this, they have that. Tell me about yours.
Yeah, and so the Tough Track suspension is actually a private label, so it's an MDC brand. We actually make that in-house. And one thing we pride ourselves on is when we're manufacturing our trailers is we're in control of the factory with the raw materials. So sheets of aluminium, the steel tube, we do all the assembly in-house. So we do the painting, the powder coating. This particular aluminium panel here, powder coated, that's done in our factory. So we control the majority of the raw materials to actually build a product. And so things like this aluminium cladding here, aluminium has different grades, and so you can get cheaper stuff or you can get more expensive stuff that's going to resist corrosion, last longer. These particular products are in the outdoors like all their lives, and so it has to be a robust material of the highest grade to withstand the pressures that we actually put these trailers through.
So you don't cheap out and go for the lower quality, you go for the top and get the best products.
We have to, because these products, you know, you take them out, you beat them up, you know, they will go anywhere that you're happy to take your vehicle and get you back.
I love that. You always say it'll get you back. We don't think about that. Once you get there, you have to get back. And if you are 200 miles in the outback, you have to get back. So quality products, one concern that I have in hearing you talk about this is I buy an MDC, I'm in the US, the only person that makes that piece in my suspension is you.
Yes.
Am I going to have trouble getting that replaced?
No, we have a full supply of parts, and that's what we do as a business. So we don't have as many parts in the US as what we have in Australia, but in Australia we carry about $500,000 worth of spare parts. The inventory in the US is probably around $100,000. But also we're bringing these products into the country every week, and so it's not difficult to actually throw spare parts in a container if a customer's looking for something.
So most of anything that people will need, I may not be able to get it in one day, but I'm going to be able to get it within a week of any parts we need.
Absolutely.
All right, that's important to know if you're in the US buying an Australian product. So I noticed the windows are a little different than some of the other ones that we see.
Yeah, these particular windows are made by a company called Aussie Traveller. They're very famous in Australia for building an Outback style window. They are dual pane, so they're, I guess, insulated.
Insulated?
Yeah. And we've been using them now for around 10 years, and we don't really have any problems.
And if something breaks or gets damaged, you know, you never know when that tree branch is going to just fly into your window. It can happen. I can get a window replacement pretty easily.
Absolutely. We carry those in stock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's a big question when you're buying something from Australia. How accessible is this company going to be? And it sounds like you've got that handled.
Yeah, well, you look at the Australian market, currently we are the second largest brand. And so for that market, we're quite a big company. In the US, you know, we're just getting started. And, you know, with yourself and Princess Craft, I'm sure you'll take us there. And
we'll sell a few, for sure.
And so, you know, we want to align ourselves with, you know, companies like yourself that do the off-road products specifically, because you care for your customers and you understand when a customer comes into your showroom and says, hey, I've got this vehicle and I want to go to these particular places, what sort of trailer could you put me into? And so we want to work with experts in the off-grid overlanding field.
Great. There's one more thing, since we're talking about the outside, the construction, that I would like to talk about. up front, you have one of the best outdoor kitchens I have ever seen. Can we take a look at that? You can tell me a little bit about
Absolutely.
the design, building this. So the outdoor kitchen is right up front.
Yeah, and just before we get into that, something that's very important in the overlanding market, you're going to be taking these things down fire trails, which is a very dusty area, right? The last thing you want before you get to your camp is to have dust inside of your travel trailer. That'd be one of the worst things, right? And so...
well, it would not be fun, no.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'd be the worst, but...
From where I come from, that's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so what's important is sealing, right? So this door here, you can see it's insulated. It's around about 1 inch thick.
It's heavy too. That's one of the things I noticed. Your doors are heavy.
Yeah, and so when we're actually laser cutting this panel, this aluminium is actually cut out of one sheet, and that's it there. Same with the aluminium composite on the inside. And so the seal here, there's 3 seals. There's a rubber seal here, and a rubber seal in here, and this all presses together. Another cool thing about this is the cam lock. So when we actually twist this, it pulls in. So when that comes around, it actually pulls the seals together. And so that seals all this, no dust can get inside.
They are very solid and very tight. I really love that feature. And the handles are solid. You know, a lot of trailers, the handles are kind of wimpy, and there is nothing wimpy about the latches and the handle on this. So the thing I noticed first about this kitchen is that it is heavy duty, and it takes a little bit to pull it all the way out. It doesn't just slide right out because it's got some weight to it. The ball bearings were great, but this is not a flimsy kitchen. And you've got latches on both sides. Hold this down because this is a solid tray. So tell me what I'm looking at here.
Okay, so here we have a
I'll take that.
Thetford stove. This actual stove here has very powerful burners. Now this particular stove is exclusive to MDC in the US. So based off our relationship with Thetford in Australia, we've actually managed to secure the rights to this exclusive to our product, which is pretty cool. Because, because when you're cooking steak, you want to have big burners, right?
Right.
We're here in Texas, famous
Right.
for steak.
Right.
We need a lot of heat on our
Right.
kitchen. And here, this little contraption is for all your condiments and bits and pieces. And so things like sauces, your barbecue rubs, all that stuff can go up here, your utensils. We've got hot and cold water to the sink, so doing washing up after you're finished. We've got a little wind guard here. You've also got the wind guard on the back of the stove. And a few
And
little
the
drawers
nice
to put
storage drawers.
your bits and pieces.
And I also noticed you have a bottle opener.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
like beer in Australia.
important stuff,
Exactly,
right?
and it's got an MDC logo.
Well, there's a lot to talk about on this. We hit just a few of the high points. Thanks for giving us a sneak peek on these. The MDCs, they've got the quality. They are built to get off the road, off the grid. We didn't even talk about that. The solar, the inverters, all the things that come with it. So, good start. Check out the MDCs. They're amazing.